So, before we begin, I want to welcome you not just to this podcast, but to a space that was built from truth, from survival, and from the quiet power of speaking that once felt unspoken. This isn't just another show. This is a sanctuary, a place where real people share raw stories, where pain is honored, not hidden, where healing is messy, brave, and absolutely possible. So I'm trying to turn my light on. Can't get it on. There we go. Every voice you'll hear on this podcast carries its own storm. Some are still in the rain, some have found the sun, and all are here because they chose courage over silence. There we go. This space was created to remind you that vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. That your story matters even if it still trembles when told. And that one voice, your voice, my voice, our voice, can spark change, inspiring healing and shift the silence. So wherever you are right now, driving, thank you for the daily, walking, crying, and just breathing, I invite you to listen with an open heart. Take what you need, leave what you don't, but know this, you are never alone. And it's burning. Be right back. She buried her grief with the one she adored, grandparents, her uncle, all part of her core. Then came a new life, a child of her own, a reason to rise, to build a new home. Through every breakdown, she found her ground. In family and love, she's safe and sound. This is her voice. Okay. Sorry about that. Hello, Kings. Welcome in. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and joining. Thank you. All right, let me open this window. Thank you. I appreciate you. She's worthy of love through loss and pain. Thank you, Jessica. This is her voice and the power to heal. Let's welcome Dimples up. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm nervous. I was trying to hurry and put this filter on before I got in the screen.
It's okay. So just know, like, this is your podcast. Anytime you need to pause, anytime you need to take a break, just let me know and we'll do that, okay?
Okay.
Shadows and Strength, a mother's battle with mental illness. From the age of 9, she had carried the weight of mental illness, anxiety, and shame, self-doubt, and the relentless voice of her inner critic. Now 33, she is a mother of 5, still fighting, still climbing out of the dark holes, and still searching for balance between healing and survival. She has known heartbreak through the loss of her grandparents, battles with her spouse, the sting of loneliness, and the destruction of toxic environments. But she also found refuge in a new family, her royal family. and in the acceptance that it's okay not to be normal. This is not a story of perfection, but of persistence, because even in the chaos of her tears, screams, and broken walls, she knows that a parent can live with mental illness and still love, still fight, and still rise. This is her truth. So we're going to start with childhood and early mental health.
Okay.
Can you describe the first time you remember realizing something wasn't right with your mental health at the age of 9?
Um, so the first time, I want to say it was about 5, 6 years old, and I heard my mom and my first stepfather arguing in the other room, and I had my little brothers in the room with me, and I was trying to shield them from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had two little brothers. I was putting their head against my shoulders and blocking their ear with the other side so they didn't have to hear it. And I remember taking away from that, like seeing my mother constantly working and holding the house down, and my first stepdad was out there, hitting on other women and stuff, not being loyal with my mom. I saw basically it was do what you're supposed to do no matter what happens. Stick with it, still try to carry it on and just deal with it. I remember hearing the arguing. I remember hearing I wasn't good enough because it was arguing over me, like if I was messing up on it or something. So I remember taking that in and just constantly thinking from at a young age, even to me being an adult, you're not good enough. That's always been that little voice in my soul that's constantly been like, you need to do better. You're not doing better. You're not giving it your all, and it tore at me. It really did a damage at me at about, I want to say it was like 5 or 6.
Okay. Well, we're going to skip question number 2 because you just answered that. So, growing up, did anyone ever explain to you what you were going through, and did you just carry that silently?
So nobody really explained it to me. They just kind of, my mom was the type to sweep it under the rug, said it was in your head, you'll be fine. And eventually it got to the point where, she said I was being attention seeking, instead of like when I would ask for help or I would ask for something, she was like, well, you're just trying to get the attention on you. And because of that, she's like, well, since I can't help you, since you just want attention, then we're going to put you in a psychiatric facility. So the first time I was in a psychiatric facility, I was 12 years old.
How was that?
Very scary. I was in a town that I didn't know. I was in Texas, but a different part of Texas. It was literally only about 2 hours away from where I was born. But I was there. I was alone. I remember my grandma telling me, like my grandma was my rock. She was like, it's okay, baby. I'm here for you. I'll come up here and visit you every day, and my mom, like, her thing was like, well, you did this to yourself. So whatever outcome that happens here, you deserve it. So it was very scary at that age. And as bad as it is, I relied on that place, that it actually became like how people say like jail is kind of like a home for them. Unfortunately, a psychiatric ward, like
Psychiatric?
yes, I can't think of it.
Okay.
A psychiatric facility, it felt more of a home for me. So that wasn't, unfortunately, the first time I've been there. I've been there. I've been in a psychiatric facility at least 3 times growing up.
Okay. What did shame look like and feel like for you as a young girl?
Um, you know, I this kind of goes in two ways aside from my mental illness. I grew up being the only brown person in my family. My mom is white, and I don't know who my real dad is, and he's full on Mexican. So I grew up with all the white people around me, and I didn't know nothing about my race. Whenever I would ask about it, they said God cooked me a little too long. You know, they tried to make it seem innocent, but I knew at a young age I was different,
Mhm.
and it was rough. It it carried shame on me because I grew up hearing all kinds of things about my father, my real dad.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing that always stuck in my head, and I've heard it from multiple people, was I was a mistake. You know, I wasn't supposed to be here. It was a one night drunk stand. You know, my mom didn't know what she was doing. My dad was a vulture. You know, I've heard all kinds of things. So dealing with that, you know, you get told at a young age you're the mistake. You're not supposed to be there, and that can take a toll on children.
Oh yeah.
You know, even to your adulthood, unfortunately, I turned out to be a people pleaser, and I hate it. I hate being a people pleaser because I rely on everybody's um feelings and actions against me. You know, if someone has something that they don't like about me, I'm like, well, what can I do to change?
Yeah.
You know, not like I don't need you in my life, but what can I do to change to make you comfortable, to make you stay?
Right.
You know, it's always carrying that burden with me.
Okay. So did you, obviously you felt like you were a little defective compared to other kids within your family or outside of your family, and how did that affect your sense of identity?
Lost.
Loss.
That's literally the best way I could put it. I was that lost little girl that didn't know who I can confide in, who I had or who I didn't have. And the people I've always had were my grandparents. You know, when I lost them 4 years ago, I literally lost the rest of my mind. That was the ones that really made the effort for me to be there and to welcome me and to love me no matter what. I've always been literally the brown sheep in the family.
Yeah.
You know, but
So,
I sit there and I try to poke fun at it because I try not to take it so serious. You know,
but it's
it is
hurtful.
hard things that have happened to me, but what good am I going to be if I can't sit there and be a better mother for my kids because I'm stuck on what who did what to me.
Right. So with that being said, um, your grandparents were your heart and soul, and what role did they play in your life specifically with stability?
So, um they, like I said, they were like my parents. And you know, my mom to this day, you know, God rest my grandparents' soul, them being in the ground. My mother still to this day says, well, they spoiled you. They took you in, you know, they treated you like like you were an egg. You had to be careful with it, like you had to be delicate. But to be honest, it was like that because my mom never gave me that delicate feeling.
Right. That sense
You
of
know, yes. So when I had went to my grandparents, you know, yes, I will admit I was a grandma grandpa girl, but those were the ones that loved me through everything. They were the ones that were there for me in any given situation. They were there. Even if they were driving 3 hours away to pick me up, they were there.
and how did that shift your mental journey?
Um, to I guess the best way to say it is how my mom would say it was being babied, but it didn't I didn't grow up out of it until after my grandparents had passed away. Um, when they passed away, that's when I felt like I've got to. I've got to put some effort in getting my stuff together.
Yeah.
And they were around for my kids, their grandkids, and they've been through turmoil themselves. Our whole family is based on mental illness. We all have something wrong with us. Um, I just happen to be the one in that generation.
So when you think of your grandparents now, what are the memories that bring back comfort?
Um, just always, sorry.
Okay.
My grandma just always telling me that she loves me and she's gonna be there for me. And just like the playing the video games with my grandpa, little stuff like that may not seem like a big deal. My kids play video games, so I sit there and I used to play video games with him. I have my grandpa's flag because he was an army veteran. So I have his flag, and there's times I'll just sit there and I'll hold on to it. And then every time I'm on my live or I'm in my vanity room, I have their obituaries on my mirror. I also have this ring. I didn't get to put it on just yet, but I have this ring and it has my grandparents' ashes in it.
That's beautiful.
So thank you. So I kind of just have it with me, and if I don't have it on me or with me, then I freak out. I literally lose my mind. I'll tear up my house looking for it.
Wow.
Because they were always my comfort.
How do you carry their legacy with you?
Still trying to be compassionate and caring to other people. They were there for me, and I try to be there for others. My grandparents were the type that they would give you the last cent in their pocket. And I try to do the same exact thing. And I mean, that's even because I don't make money. I'm literally a stay-at-home mom. But if I see you out there, I had some money sent back to me a while back, and I saw somebody at McDonald's that didn't have a meal, and he was just sitting there. I bought him a meal. With the last bit of money that I had, I bought him a meal. And it's because, honestly, in this world, it's too much ugly. And something that they've always had is they were always compassionate and caring and helpful. So I try to continue to be that way, and I try to get the help that I need to be a better person for them.
Yeah. Motherhood and mental health. What does it feel like trying to mother 5 children while battling your own inner storms?
It's hard. It's like constant screaming and chaos and malfunction going on inside your brain 24/7. Like there's no sleep. It's constant noise. There's no quietness. Not to mention my kids go through their own things too, especially my oldest kids. My oldest kids, they do have a toxic situation going on with themselves, and it's not just from my side, but from their real mom's side.
Oh.
So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to heal myself and heal them at the same time when I myself am struggling, and I'm scared I can give them that kind of damage.
I got you. Yeah, I get it. And that's got to be hard because they're maternally not your children. Even though you still treat them that way, it's got to be double hard.
Yes, they've been my babies for 11 years. My oldest is 15. My 2 youngest ones, my 8-year-old and my almost 2-year-old, are mine. But my 3 oldest babies, those are my bonus babies.
So what's the hardest part about parenting while struggling with your mental illness?
I guess it's probably gonna sound like an off the wall answer, or maybe even a normal answer, but trying to contain how I really feel inside and trying to stop it from coming out. It's limiting what I'm saying and what I'm doing. I'm having to watch what I say and watch what I do because I still struggle with that stuff inside. I'm getting the help that I'm getting, but at the same time I still have that slip of the tongue. You know, I still say some stuff that shouldn't be said. And it's still a learning process for me, but it's something I feel like is honestly never going to change no matter how much medication or therapy that I get.
Well, I think that we all have those moments of the slip of the tongue.
Mhm.
You know, and we really do, and some of us deal with it differently than others do. Do you ever worry about passing mental health issues onto your kids?
Absolutely. Every day of my life.
And how do you feel about that?
It scares me. It scares me because I don't want them to go through the same life that I have. I want them to know that I'll always be here, that if they need somebody to talk to, I'm here. I may be struggling it with you, but I'm here. And I'm scared. Like I'm seeing it with my three oldest babies, and it breaks my heart because it's something I wish I could stop. And I'm starting to see it with my 8-year-old, and that makes me feel like a failure in a way. So I'm trying to get all the help that I can get in any way possible before my 2-year-old almost reaches that point.
It's got to be hard.
It is.
As a mother of 4 adult children, then that's when they start blaming you for, and I'm not saying all my children do it, but then that's when they say, my trauma.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
almost like the cycle continues because even though you've done everything that you've tried, at some point, I think that we all screw up because they don't come with handbooks.
If only it was easier that way.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the moments? Did I think I asked you that? Okay. If your kids could see inside your mind on your worst day, what would you want them to understand?
So I think my thing is I don't even know how to begin to answer that. I don't, I think that would scare me more than anything is because I don't want them to see what's going on in my mind. Because I feel like it might be too much for them. But I feel like if they did get that chance, they would understand where I'm coming from and how I'm coming from it.
Right.
And unfortunately, you know, it's not all, it's not great to see. Like, I don't want them to see that monster that I deal with every night. You know, I try to keep them from that monster, and sometimes that means even keeping them from me, walking away or telling them I need y'all to go play. I need 5 minutes to myself, and I could be ugly crying and throwing stuff across the room, and I don't want them to see that. And I think that's the biggest thing that scares me. But I want them to know that it is a normal thing. If you have been through stuff like this, it is normal to feel the way you're feeling. You don't have to be ashamed.
Can I ask what is, and you don't have to answer, so what is the exact mental illness that you struggle with?
So,
That was something you didn't put in.
yeah, because I have a lot, to say the least. I have PTSD, I have anxiety, I have major depression, bipolar type 2, anorexia nervosa, MPD, which is multiple personality disorders, NPD, and that's narcissistic personality disorder. I basically have almost everything underneath the sun except for schizophrenia, and that's because when I was younger in the psychiatric facility for the first time, they diagnosed me with it. But I outgrew it over time.
Wow. Marriage, family, and relationship. How did your mental health struggles affect your relationship with your spouse?
I gave him 11 years of a wild ride. And, you know, he's loved me through it, but there's been times it got so bad it did scare him, which I don't blame him. We were married for a month, and a month after we ended up splitting up for a week. And in his head, he what he did in that week wasn't acceptable with what happened. He went back to his ex-wife and tried to rekindle it. In my head, I was like, we were separated for a week, but we were still married.
Right.
So that had me flying off my rocker. We've done
I think that
counseling.
would have anybody without mental illness. I think that would have anybody.
Oh, that's not the worst part. The worst part, she told me whenever my daughter was in the hospital. So he never told me. He was like, I didn't want you to go crazy over that in that situation when it happened. And I said, well, you should have been honest with me.
Wow.
But I've gave him a wild ride. We have split up a few times, but we have been together for 11 years. He is the only man that literally calms my storm.
Nice. It's nice to have somebody like that.
Yes.
What role did fights, tears, and broken walls play in the unraveling of your marriage?
Honestly, that was the thing that took control. That was the biggest thing about it. When we say broken walls, I'm talking about literal. Like, I've put my fist through a wall. I've let my anger get the best of me. I've done more damage in this house faster than he can replace it because of having my issues.
Yeah.
I get trapped in my head sometimes. I make things out to be that it's not there. I understand, I do have the royal family, and I'm so grateful for them. But I feel like, in my head, I feel like I give more than I receive to anybody. And I know everybody has an extent of feeling on that way, but sometimes I feel alone. I could be surrounded by 50 people and still feel alone.
Yeah.
So even through all our trials and triumphs, I'm still trying to push through to be the better wife and mother I could be.
After losing your spouse and family, what was the lowest point of loneliness for you?
Excuse me. Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. The lowest point was when I tried to take my life. That was my lowest point. And it was literally the worst way I could think of. Me and my spouse, we were going out of town, and we pulled over on the side of the road because me and him were arguing. My 3 bonus babies were in the back seat, and I told him, if this is going to keep happening the way it's happening, then I'm going to jump in the road. And I walked up the hill, got close to the interstate, and right before I could take a step in that street, he pulled me by my arm. So it's literally came close to where it's almost taken my life on more than one occasion.
How did you find the courage to walk away from toxic people
Mama, can we
and
go check our friends again?
agencies in your life?
So are we talking about an actual agency?
This is
Because I did walk away from that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was with an actual agency on TikTok. And, they came in, they were talking about love and support and being there for each other, which I did my part. But I'm still trying to fully walk away from it. Unfortunately, I'm still with them until the 10th of September. And so anything I'm on or they can see everything. And I've crashed out on my lives before, and I've gotten a call from the big boss lady saying, you need to close your live down now.
Right.
Get off of it, close it down, and we will talk about this tomorrow. So, of course, being in my head that whole time, I'm thinking, what did I do wrong?
Right.
There were these mean people that have said these things about me, and I lost it on my live. Granted, there's a time and a place for it, but in that moment it hit me.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm still dealing with. I'm dealing with having fake pages made about me and having to report it. I'm dealing with people threatening me in text, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, everything that's out there, social media. And I'm still trying to push past it and be a bigger person.
Wow.
So even if I did leave it, it still haunts me.
How has your royal family community helped you heal?
They are there for me. They're there for me. They love me. They accept me with my flaws. You know, I'll get a text. Sandwich, for instance, I talk to him almost every day.
Oh, I'm
Like
sorry.
he's either, yeah, he's a great guy. He'll text me or call me. King, every time I pop in, he's like, Dimples, and I'm like, King, you know, like he makes it to see like I'm seen. You know, the whole family shows that I'm seen. You know, Bree baby, for instance, she became a best friend. Like we,
So do you still feel alone? Because previously you just said you could be around 50 people and still feel alone. Do they make you feel alone?
they don't make me feel alone, but when I'm not in contact with anybody, I do feel alone.
Okay.
That is something I feel no matter what. Because I mean, in reality, yes, you can have them on any other app, but it's also social media. You don't have somebody in person.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing about it. And that's where it's put me. I've put myself in dangerous situations just to make friends. You know, I've done stupid things to make friends that I'm not proud of. But at the end of the day, you know, I could hop on a social media app or I could text somebody and be like, hey, and they're like, hey, Dimples, how are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm good, you know, but at the end of the day, you put that phone up and you're still alone. You're still by yourself.
Yeah, I get it.
Sorry, my kids are home from school.
Yeah, I just had to send mine outside, so I get it. Thank you for the mic. When did you find? Oh, so we're going to move on to self-reflection and healing. We may have to backtrack a little bit because we've only been on for 25 minutes, and I like to make it at least an hour.
Oh yeah, no, you're fine. I could talk all day.
When did you finally say out loud, "I have a problem and it's okay"?
Hey, go play, please. No, go play. Shh. Sorry,
It's okay.
that's my 8-year-old.
And that's-
So I've been trying to get help off and on since I was about 13 years old.
okay.
I was literally the lab rat on medication. I've had over 50 medicines in my system. You know, everybody that's tried something on me, it's gone all the way from, you know, Adderall to Zoloft, Seroquel, Vraylar, everything.
Right.
I've had it all. I've had bad reactions, I've had good reactions, but I've always tried to get the help, but I did tell my spouse something that would try to push me on this is I am getting my help. I had my first appointment with my psychiatrist this morning, and I haven't had an appointment with a psychiatrist in a year. And I told my spouse this past weekend, I'm going to try again this time. And honestly, if I fell out of it, I want you to leave me and I want you to take the kids.
That's a hard decision.
Because it is, but at the same time, I don't need my kids seeing me that way. If I start deteriorating so bad, I don't want my kids to be around. I don't want them to see that. Yeah, they're going to miss me and they're going to want me around, but I rather see them be separate and be healthy and happy than to see me deteriorating.
Right.
I don't want to be the reason why they need help in the future.
How do you practice loving yourself when your own mind feels like it's the enemy?
You know, I know they say that you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. Honestly, I think that's a lie.
Okay. How so?
Because I don't love myself. I tolerate myself, but I love my kids, my spouse, everybody in my life. I do, but I am my own worst enemy. I look in the mirror only once a day, and that's to put my face on or to brush my teeth. And other than that, I'm basically putting blankets over my mirrors. I don't care about me, but I care to get help enough for my kids.
Yeah. It's a struggle.
It is. And that's something that my stepdad, my second stepdad that came into my life when I was 9, he always tried to get me to do daily affirmations in the mirror. He was like, say 3 things about yourself that you like. And he's always pushed that on me. And the first couple times I did it, I was like, he's like, how do you feel? I was like, I feel silly. I feel like it's just words that's coming out. He's like, the thing is you have to keep saying it to eventually believe it. And I couldn't do it. I every now and then, I'm like, I'll put my makeup on and I'm like, hey, there she is. Other times I'm like, girl, what the hell happened to you?
You ever tried putting it on like a Post-it note?
I've tried that. I've tried writing on my mirrors with Expo markers. Mm-hmm. I've tried Sharpies. I've tried notes around the house. As bad as it sounds, and I feel bad for my spouse, but as bad as it sounds, it's more like if other people are uplifting me, then I see my worth. So my spouse, he used to leave me notes around here like, hey, beautiful, I hope you have a great day. Stuff like that. Yeah. And I would believe it. It'd be like, oh, I got this note. I'm feeling good. It's going to be a great day. But the more he worked and the more he became absent, the more my mental health kind of took over.
Right.
And it sucks because that's where it comes from. I try to be a people pleaser. I rely on people's opinions as much as I shouldn't.
Right. What does acceptance mean when it comes to your mental illness?
So to me, I think it would have to mean like people accept you for who you are. Regardless if you're on that roller coaster, people are still there for you and they care for you and they'll reach out to you. Yeah. But at the same thing, and I hate to do it, I can give other people advice, but I can't take my own. And the other thing that I tell everybody is it's a 2-way road. You got to reach out yourself. Right. The other person can't rely on it. But my thing is, in my head, I feel like if I'm reaching out, I'm being a bother. They have something that's more important that they need to be doing. They're not going to give me that 2 seconds to respond. I'm not worth that 2 seconds, because what if I'm reaching out to you and I'm like, hey, I smashed my hand through a wall. They're going to be like, oh God, she went off her crazy rocker again. We don't want to keep hearing this. It gets annoying hearing it. That's what I think. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to stay silent instead of trying to burden somebody with how I feel.
Wow. What role has smoking, medication, and now seeing your psychiatrist played in your coping?
So I have always been a heavy herbal plant user. Mm-hmm. That's something me and my grandfather had bonded over because he was a veteran. So his thing is he would smoke to be better, like to kind of get the memories to go away. And that's how I took at it. I started smoking. I am a heavy pro plant user. I believe in all its remedies and what it's done because it has helped me.
Right.
When I do smoke or partake in it, it makes me be this wonderful, happy mom. Like this woman that's not always focused on cleaning and the duties and getting the house situated and laundry and dishes and cooking. You know, I can actually sit there and enjoy time with my kids. They can see me where I'm smiling and I'm laughing and I'm happy. And I knew something was going on with it. I knew it was a problem, like, because my kids could tell the difference. They'll come home and if I'm happy and smiling, oh, well, mom took her medicine. Mom did her medicine. That's how my 8-year-old sees it, is medicine. He doesn't like me saying any other word. It's medicine.
Right.
And that's because I taught him that when he was at school. I was like, don't go telling the school, like, you know, your mama smokes. Tell him your mama has medicine. You know, and that's a fear in my life as well with that, because I don't know what's going to happen. You know, the child protective stuff could come in and it scares me to death. So I'm always watching and erasing my tracks. So it sucks because if I'm not in a good mood, my kids are like, oh, well, I think you need to go take a break and go smoke.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah, like, and it sucks because they can see, you know, they can see my mindset in it. Or like my daughter, for instance, she has me on everything. Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, everything. And she'll watch me. She's like, have you eaten today, Mom? Do you need to smoke? Are you okay? Is there something I need to do when you get home? You know, like, do you want to make dinner
tonight? That they worry about you like that?
Honestly, it makes me feel bad. But at the same time, that's something that my daughter dealt with over at her mom's house. You know, my oldest daughter is the one that always has my back in helping with anything. Even when I tell her, you know, just go be a kid, go do something. You know, she's like, but I want to make sure you're okay, Mom.
Yeah.
And I feel the love in it, but at the same time, she's always had to take on that adult role at her mom's house.
Yeah.
You know, her mom was always busy or gone or partying or something, and she was the mom at home, which reminded me of my role growing up. I was the mom to my 2 younger brothers. And that's when I tell her, look, baby, don't worry about me. You need to focus on you. You know, like, get your stuff done. Worry about
That's a lot for a 15-year-old to handle.
It is. It is. And that's why I do get the help that I can get, because I don't want my kids to feel that burden.
Right.
My biggest fear in my whole entire world is my kids come home to my lifeless body and my 2-year-old running around.
Right.
That is the biggest fear in my whole life.
Yeah.
Is finding their mom that's, you know, gone. I could never walk away and just leave my 2-year-old, but I was so scared in the past that I could take my life. And my kids would come home from school and see that. And that's why I'm trying to get the help that I can get, so my kids don't ever have to see something like that.
Right. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you feel hope about the next chapter of your journey, of your healing journey?
You know, I do. I do feel hope in it. I feel excited. You know, I finally have something that I'm pushing for. And then even on here, I went from being a part of an agency, then being bullied, and then meeting the royal family. And when I met the royal family, I met Samich. And Samich is this ray of light. Like, he is a beautiful being. And he's actually helped me accomplish something that I absolutely love, which is my series. You know, it is something that I could always see at a distance. Like, eventually I'll get to it. I just got to work the kinks out. But he's like, look, this is what we're going to do. And it gave me purpose. It's like, hey, I don't have to sit at home. I can see people and interact with them Friday nights. You know, I do get to do something that I absolutely love. And I am grateful for Sandwich for that, because honestly, if he hadn't pushed me, that dream would have never been a reality.
Aw. Hugs to Sandwich.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love him.
So, messages to others. What do you want other parents with mental illness to know about being capable of love and care? Thank you for the follow.
It's possible to get the help that you need.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible to reach out. Your kids do rely on you. You know, they do need their parents. They need to be seen. My mental illness didn't grow from just a mental illness. It was from not being seen by my own parents. So pay attention to your babies. Love your babies. The dishes can wait. The laundry can wait. The necessities, like the in your head, the cleaning and stuff, it can wait.
Yeah.
But you need to spend time with your babies. Your babies are what is pushing you, is what's driving you. You need to get the help that you need. And that's where I'm at. That's where I push myself, because I know my babies need me.
Yeah. What would you say to the version of you who was 9 years old just starting this journey?
It's going to be a bumpy road. You know, it's going to be bumpy and it's going to get hard, but you have to pull yourself out of it. You're going to lose the most important part of people in your life, but you've got to get through it. It wasn't her fault.
It's not your fault.
It wasn't her fault for going through with what she was going through.
Do you want to take a break? Have you ever?
No, I'm okay. Get out.
Have you ever said that before?
No.
How did it feel?
It feels unrealistic. You know, it feels I needed somebody to tell me that at a young age. I needed somebody to tell me that it wasn't my fault, that I wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that.
If someone's listening, feels completely alone right now, what do you want them to hear from you?
Reach out to me. There's other places you can reach out to, but if you're not comfortable reaching out to them, reach out to me. I'll hear you. I know what you're going through, and you're not going to be alone in it. I will help you carry that burden. I will help you get that off your shoulders. I may take it on my own, but I promise you it's better out than in.
That's why I started this podcast. How does humor, even your joke about meat, help you cope with heavy days?
My joke about meat?
Yeah, that's what apparently you put something in the questions. You put something in the question about that. We'll skip it. What does being
Yeah,
unique? What does
I
being
probably knew it at
unique?
the time.
I'm sorry.
I said I probably knew it at the time, but I don't remember anymore.
Okay. Well, how does your humor help you cope with heavy days?
um, I try to poke fun at different things, even if it's not something that people think is funny. I try to find something funny in it.
Mhm.
Um, but to be honest, the only time I really have any humor is if I have somebody laughing with me and not against me.
Okay. What does a mental health day look like for you from morning to night?
So before I had my daughter, it was staying in bed all the time, not eating, not drinking, unless I absolutely had to get up, and it was unhealthy snacks. It was anything I could just grab that I wasn't taking care of myself. And now that it's after I've had my daughter, I still have to force myself to get up. I have to force myself.
You keep talking. I have to shut my windows and doors.
You're fine. So, I still had to get myself up. I had to, still had to clean the house, still had to take care of the dishes, because at the end of the day, I still have a 2-year-old. I still have a little human that can't do the stuff for themselves, so I have to pull myself out of it. But I know on one of my worst days, and it was so horrible, I got up, changed my daughter, made her a bottle, and she basically had a play session in her room almost all day.
Mm.
I would go in, change her butt, give her another bottle, play with her for about 5 minutes, and then I'd set her down and I would go lay back down and I would stay there. Or I would go in her room and just lay in there with her while she was playing or smacking me or something, and I was just taking it because I knew that she still had to see me. I didn't have any care to do anything else, but I knew that I still had to take care of her.
Okay. Do you believe that healing is a destination, or is this going to be something you're going to be working on for the rest of your life?
As bad as it sounds, I don't see an end game with it. I don't see the end of the tunnel where I'll finally reach it. I think it's going to be something that I'm going to be dealing with on a daily basis. The medication I'll have to take, the structures on doing the things that I have to do to make things work. I don't see an end game in it.
Okay. That's fair enough. What does the word family mean to you now after losing and rebuilding connection?
It was a little bittersweet because I was told we were a family in the agency. And then I saw each person turn their back on me except for a few people. But with the royal family, on that, I actually see everybody being a family. There's bickering, there's love, there's competition, but fun. It's not anything serious. But it does suck at times to see people starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
And I understand, you're always going to have that crazy uncle or that crazy grandma or the crazy brother or cousin. But it sucks when you start seeing people fall apart, because then you wonder what you could do to fix things. Even if you have no play in it, you try to take control of the situation. And sometimes it's inevitable. It's going to fall apart on its own or not. And as far as my in-life family, my kids, my spouse, I literally try to keep them as close as I can because I'm scared I'll lose them. So I am that helicopter parent. I am the one that will constantly watch my kids no matter what, good or bad days.
Yeah. What are some small victories you've celebrated recently that others might overlook?
Started seeing a psychiatrist again. That's a win for me because I didn't think I was going to do it. You know, you get tired of opening up and telling your story repeatedly to new people all the time.
Okay.
You know, I've had at least 10 psychiatrists in my whole life, 15 therapists, and at least 20 counselors. And I've had to tell my story each time to them. And it scares me because it's like when I finally get close to somebody, they leave me. You know, or they take a different job offer or something, and then it makes you not want to open up again, but you have to open up to get the help that you need.
Right.
Like they say, a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Which leads me to my next and last question. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who feels scared to start therapy or medication? Aw.
So the main thing that comes to me in that is you're already at rock bottom, so there's only one way you can go. It's only up from here. You've got to get the help that you need, because if you do want to better yourself and you do want to get the love that you need and to better yourself, you need to reach out. Even if it's, you know, on the son, give me a minute, please. Even if it's the hotline, or even if it's going and checking in for a night, just take that moment to get the help that you need. Because you could have somebody that's looking out for you, or you could have somebody that's looking up to you, and they're not going to be able to imagine their life without you in it.
How do you feel?
Bare. I feel like I've bared my soul, and I've talked about a lot of things that I didn't think would come out.
It's different when you're putting it in chronological order and then just having a random conversation with somebody. It hits different.
Yeah.
So that was the last question, and I want to thank you for coming. And I want you to know you are not alone. Even in your darkest battles, there is light waiting to break through. Your story is proof that healing is not about being perfect. It's about showing up again and again and again. For yourself and for the people you love. If you are struggling, know this. You are seen. You are heard. And you are very much loved. I have some resources. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 988 US text. The crisis text line, text HOME, HOME, to 741-741. NAM helpline, 1-800-950-NAM. And your local mental health centers, support groups, and other online community that you can find. And starting soon, there is rare life coaching and spiritual healing. So I'm going to darken the screen. If there's anybody in the chat that wants to ask her, if she's okay with it, ask her any questions.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for her? Okay, go ahead, Sandwich. Also, please join us Friday for our next guest at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Our guest will be Sandwich.